Hey YouTube, let's talk about two different ways to use Mark Bell's Slingshot with regards to your bench for either heavy overload or rep work. So the two ways that I like to use the Slingshot and that I found very effective, and you're saying, Mark, why do I give a crap about what you have to say? Probably shouldn't, but this is my man's humble opinion. So two ways that I use the Slingshot is on two separate days of my training. So yesterday was heavy bench day for me, so I worked my way up to 374 for a double. And then I fired off a single at 390 because I figured 390 I can do. 374 for a double was okay. Couldn't hit a third, so just add 16 pounds and everything will be okay. Hit 390 for a single, and then I threw 4 plates on, so 405, which happens to be my current max, tested max. I'm pretty sure I'm a little bit higher than that at the moment, and I did rep work with the Slingshot. So I hit a quad at 405 with the Slingshot, and obviously there's no way I could have hit a quad at 405 after all of that work on the way up. Just not going to happen, right? Went for a 5th rep, desperately needed help, got saved by my spotter, which is why you should always use a spotter with heavy weights, especially with the Slingshot. Because that bar was not coming off my chest. I got it about there, and I screamed like a little girl. It was hilarious for everybody else but me. So one way that you can look at using the Slingshot is heavy overload, right? And that's that example of, working your way up to your heaviest set and then throwing the Slingshot on and going heavier. Now, why would we want to do that rather than just stopping there? Obviously, if I can't hit a single at 405 without the Slingshot, doing a quad at 405 doesn't make much sense, right? Why not just drop down and do a weight that I can do? There is going to be muscular overload. There is going to be the psychological benefit of unracking your max and repping it out. The other thing, too, is when you unrack for your heaviest set or your max and you're going for rep work with a Slingshot, you're thinking about everything on the way down. You're like, okay, my elbows need to be tucked this way. I'm doing this. All right, my breath, like breathing in, touch your chest, and as you go to lift up, that's when the Slingshot's engaging and allowing a little bit of oomph off the chest to build momentum to press up. It's going to add probably about 40 to 50 pounds to your maximum, right? So if I'm doing 405 for a quad, probably means that I could have done 355 for a quad or 365 for a quad, but I'm doing 405 for a quad. Why would we not just want to drop down to 365? Once again, there's the muscular overload. When you're on your way up, once the Slingshot disengages, which it will do, you're still pushing 405 pounds. And as you're lowering the bar down and overloading your lats, you're still loading your lats up with 405 pounds. Now, a lot of us fail off the chest or just slightly above the chest, which is a common point on the on the bench press to fail, is that first 3 inches either on the chest or just slightly off. So what the Slingshot's going to allow you to do is just power through that initial point, but you're still overloading your lats as you come down, and as you get to that 3 inch off the chest mark and the Slingshot basically disengages, it's all getting transferred to them triceps in your chest, right? So there is going to be some benefit. So that's one way to do is heavy overload. Push yourself beyond what you could have done heavy weight-wise to overemphasize the muscles. And it does work, obviously. You got a guy like Mark Bell who spent years developing it. Multiple powerlifters and strongmen, like elite level strongmen, use this and say the exact same thing. Right? It's gonna increase your overall max because more weight moved is more weight or more strength gained. That's just how it works. The second way you can use it is for rep work. When I do my overhead press day, I like to do overload work on my bench, just kind of greasing the groove at a weight that's not so much that I'm completely destroying my chest, but enough that my chest knows it did something. So one day I'll do pause reps, without the Slingshot, and on my second overhead press day, because I have rotating workouts, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands right now, I do 3 sets of 10 at 325 with the Slingshot, right? So once again, you can turn around and say okay, well, why are we doing... This is greasing the groove work for me, right? The purpose isn't to kill my chest so I can't hit it 2 days later. It's to let it know that it's worked, and it's to work on form, right? So doing 3 sets of 10 at 325 with the Slingshot allows me to really I'm still unracking 325. I'm still repping out 325, but yes, that first 3 inches off the chest is going to be assisted. So the weight on my chest might not feel like 325. It might feel closer to 275 or 285. But at the end of the day, once again, loading your lats and pushing off, engaging your triceps, it's going to be 325. I could say drop down to 255 and do 3 sets of 10, and then I'd be able to hit that, and it would still be greasing the groove, but my goal is to move the most amount of weight possible and get as strong as I possibly can. So if I can overload my muscles on doing heavy rep work like that, because it's still 3 sets of 10, I'm going to get some hypertrophy gains, I'm going to get some size gains, but at the same time, I'm going to be moving more strength-wise. right? Because anytime you can move more weight on the bar, you're going to get stronger regardless. To help people increase their 1 rep max. So that's two different ways that you can use the slingshot. One is for heavy overload, right? Going beyond what your body can do and repping out, just getting your body, getting your central nervous system engaged and being like, okay, this is what 400 pounds feels like. This is what 455 pounds feels like. Holy crap, this is heavy. But as you go down and you push off, you're like, ooh, I can do this. You know, like, no, that's not a new mat and that's not a new PR. But at the same time, you're like, okay, that's what it feels like to load up on 400 pounds on my lats. That's what it feels like to lock out 400 pounds, right? And then the heavy rep work just allows you to push yourself beyond what you could do, just working on range of motion. Because when I go down and I drop down and do my initial warm up, like I'm doing my initial work sets at about 315. When I'm only going for a quad or sorry, no, 5. What's 5? If quad's 4. Cinco? I got nothing. When I'm going for 5. And I'm kind of lowering the bar down. In my mind, I'm thinking about my slingshot work, and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, this is easy, like, not a problem. Because it'll get into your head mentally and psychologically, as well as within your central nervous system. Your body's thinking about engaging everything on the way down. That's it, guys. Questions and comments down below. 2 novel ways to use the slingshot that I'm sure everybody on Earth that has the slingshot already uses and doesn't even think about. And as always, guys, eat like a bodybuilder and train like a powerlifter.